Meneer de commissaris, mevrouw de minister, meneer de minister, meneer de gedeputeerde, burgemeesters, directeurs en team van het regionaal landschap, voorzitters allerhande, dames en heren en als ik goed rondkijk, mag ik zelf zeggen enkele goede vrienden. Ladies and gentlemen, a Latin expression says, natura magister artis. In my case, nature is indeed a teacher of art. It is a major source of inspiration, the basis, I apologize, the basis, I know that some Japanese are here, the basis for haiku. But nature also offers me a perspective of continuity in a world where everything changes fast. At the end of an intensive working week in Brussels, it feels good to be here in the sunshine in this beautiful park, surrounded by almost 6,000 hectares of nature. I'm also proud to be here. The National Park Hoge Kempen is a pioneer in Belgium, in Flanders, and it is admired in the rest of the world. I want to express my respect to you, Inja Schops, and to your whole team. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, we actually have no excuse not to protect nature. We have many reasons to do it. Let me give some of them. First of all, there is certainly, as I explained it for myself, an emotional argument. Nature plays a role in our mental well-being. Second, ethically, we have the moral duty to take care of what we have received, as simple as that. Nature is not just something to admire from time to time, we have to adapt our lifestyles to limit the damage we cause. And after emotional, ethically, also a social argument. What may sound as a luxury for the rich is certainly a necessity for the poor. And fourthly, economically, our lands, our seas deliver fish, raw materials, fresh water. Nature generates tourism and research. The National Park here is a good example. It developed here in part because new employment had to be created when the coal mines were closing. I do not look down on those who favor protection of nature for economic reasons, out of self-interest rather than for green idealism. The importance is that we do protect nature more than the reasons why. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to give a sign to the world that protecting the environment is a must. Actually, the European Union has been given that sign already for decades through the development of sound environmental policies. Europe is protecting biodiversity since more than 30 years, long before an international framework was set up. Already in 1979 and later in 1992, we adopted crucial directives to protect vulnerable birds and other species. This had led to an impressive network of 26,000 protected areas in Europe, an area of more than 850,000 square kilometers. This is almost 80% of EU's land area. However, we see that halting the loss of biodiversity by 2010 has not been possible. In March of this year, the Environment Council has defined new targets endorsed by the European Council. Later this year, a strategy for concrete action will be presented by Commissioner Janez POTOCNIK. Ladies and gentlemen, in Europe we have the political will to protect the environment. We have the budget to stimulate it and the laws to enforce it. But results at global level are lacking. Harry Mulisch, the well-known Dutch novelist, said, "Nature is different from culture in the sense that there are no boundaries in nature." Well, protecting nature can have no boundaries either. First of all, protecting nature and the environment is a task for all of us. Politicians can draw the rules of the game, but citizens, companies, and all of us have to act. We need strong partnerships with you, civil society. I am glad to see that today many nature conservation organizations are present here. Secondly, we need commitment at the world level. The Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro in 1992 was a milestone. World leaders recognized for the first time that they have to act to protect the planet. But we are almost 20 years later now, and this effort in multilateralism has yet to deliver. And thirdly, we need concrete action. Commitment is important, but it's not enough. And let me give an example in the field of climate change policy. The United States indicated in Copenhagen to be committed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, but almost 1 year later, we see no action. At the other side, China is reluctant to sign up the internationally binding climate targets, but it does take concrete actions. And we have to recognize the value of this action. Fourthly, we need resources. For the fight against climate change, developed countries have committed in Copenhagen to jointly provide $100 billion, 72 billion euros in 2020. Also, by biodiversity, more resources will be needed. World leaders have to reflect about new and innovative ways of finance. And the public and the private sector will have to join those efforts. There is hope on the horizon. I believe that the economic crisis offers opportunities for environment, even although the picture seems mixed. On the one hand, we see that tough economic situations limit resources for environment policies. And certainly in developing countries, the fight against poverty is even higher on the agenda. And in Europe too, there is an argument that since the economic crisis has diminished the investment capacity of our companies, we cannot impose stronger climate change targets now. But on the other hand, we also see another logic or school of thought arising, a more promising one for environment. The economic crisis is now widely perceived as a moment to rethink traditional economic approaches and to invest in sustainable or green growth. This offers major opportunities for the environment. Ladies and gentlemen, the conference of the parties in Nagoya, starting in less than 2 weeks, is important for nature and for the belief that multilateralism can still deliver here. Asian and European leaders expressed earlier this week in Brussels, in the ASEM meeting I chaired, their willingness to reach a successful result in Nagoya. You can count on the European Union for a constructive and ambitious position in Japan. The Commissioner and the Minister of Nature and of Culture, a unique combination in the world. The Flemish Minister of Nature and of Culture, Schauvliege, acting President of the Environment Council, present here today, will defend our interests, and I'm sure they will do a good job. I'm interested to listen together with you to their views. Dear friends, it happens from time to time that I end my speech with a haiku. Now that we are here to show, and we go to Nagoya, some of you, that nature matters, now that we talk all afternoon about it, what else can I do than end with a haiku, or maybe two? The first one, stones in a globe, for natural diversity, a sign to the world. Stones in a globe for natural diversity, a sign to the world. And the second one, from lots to little, from riches to scarcity, this spiral must stop. En in het Nederlands, van veel naar weinig, van weelde naar schaarste, dit kan niet langer. Van veel naar weinig, van weelde naar schaarste, dit kan niet langer. Dank u.